Hello and welcome to World in 2 Minutes, brought to you by trtworld.com. Let's take a look at this hour's developing stories. The Obama administration is ramping up its response to West Africa's Ebola crisis. President Barack Obama is preparing to assign 3,000 U.S. military personnel to the afflicted region to supply medical and logistic support to overwhelmed local healthcare systems and to boost the number of beds needed to isolate and treat victims of the epidemic. President Obama is to announce the stepped-up effort on Tuesday during a visit to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. The international community fears that the outbreak could spread and the deadly virus could mutate into a more easily transmitted disease. Libyan Prime Minister Abdullah al-Thani blamed Qatar for the plans, controlled by armed groups and loaded with weapons, that landed at a Tripoli airport. Prime Minister al-Thani has alleged that Qatar is responsible for sending 3 military planes loaded with weapons to a Tripoli airport controlled by armed opposition group. The government had already accused Sudan of having tried to arm a group which seized Tripoli last month, forcing senior officials and the elected parliament to relocate to the east. For James Foley's parents, U.S. foreign policy offered no help. Guided by its strict no-ransom policy, the United States government's hands-off approach was vastly different from the tack taken by European countries, which quickly negotiated the release of their citizens in exchange for cash. This greatly frustrated the family of Mr. Foley, 40, a freelance journalist, and the other American hostages, who were desperate for Washington to take stronger action, according to interviews with 24 people, including members of Mr. Foley's family, witnesses to his time in captivity, his colleagues, and a network of consultants who tried to win his release. ISIS fighters shot down a Syrian warplane near the group's stronghold of Raqqa using anti-aircraft guns, an organization that tracks violence in the Syrian civil war said. Rami Abdurrahman, who runs the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, said it was the first time the group has downed a warplane since declaring its cross-border caliphate in Iraq and Syria after capturing the Iraqi city of Mosul in June. And that's it for this hour's session of World in 2 Minutes. You can check back with us at trtworld.com once every 2 hours for more stories.